Let's talk about cooperative marketing and why it works so well for the copywriter or marketing professional to create additional revenue and boost their customer base. Hi, this is Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. Cooperative marketing is where two or more businesses come together to generate leads and to ultimately produce customers by sharing the expenses of reaching those customers. You know, as a copywriter or marketer, that very early in the business relationship, you're basically just qualifying and identifying the challenges of individuals. You know that majority of the people in a marketplace don't have an immediate need to buy X, but when you can know if they want to buy X, Y, or Z, then you're in what's called a toll gate position. Harvey Brody called it the toll gate position, where you own a customer and you know when they signal to buy certain types of products, and then you simply match them with the people who can fulfill on those particular types of products. Well, a cooperative marketing relationship could be, for an example, an insurance agent, a broker, and a banker who get together to send a monthly prospect newsletter that talks about personal finance. They share the costs of renting a list. They share the printing costs. They share the costs of a copywriter. Now, if you're that copywriter, you could set all this up and, in fact, manage it and basically interview each of these professionals each month, and then you'll have an audio interview. You'll have content to write for the newsletter, and then you basically send out to the list. Now, what is the offer in the newsletter? Well, if you have specific questions about this financial strategy and how it might apply in your business, then call XYZ, or call this individual. The offer might be a consultation or appointment. The key is that rather than any single one of these providers spending all the money necessary to reach these prospects on a monthly basis, they're each spending 1/3. And because they're spending 1/3 of the cost, every customer they get, again, they all serve the same audience, but they don't directly compete with each other. In fact, they're already giving each other referrals in most of the cases. By doing the cooperative marketing engagement, they're paying 1/3 of the cost associated with reaching those prospects, so that every new appointment, every new lead, every new sale has 1/3 the typical cost. Think about this. Cooperative marketing can help you get into marketplaces that other people can't reach because they're too expensive. But again, if you're sharing the cost among multiple partners, not just sharing the cost among customers. See, we can already reimburse our marketing costs by getting good customers. You get a profitable customer, they're going to reimburse the cost it took you to find them in the first place, because you're going to track the cost per lead. You're going to track the cost per sale. You're going to ultimately know that they generated enough revenue to cover the cost to find them in the first place, and now your job is just to keep them. However, what if you could get those prospects at 1/3, 1/2, or even 1/5 of the cost you're spending today? Well, that's why cooperative marketing engagements are so powerful. So there's two ways to look at this. As a copywriter, you can do this for yourself. And I've done cooperative marketing engagements using affiliate programs. I actually use the affiliate program's content, my newsletter, and then I would periodically get commissions from the affiliate program. I would use this for a printer. So as a copywriter, I partnered with a printer mail shop, okay? So I would send out my newsletter. They printed it for free. I paid for the postage. They paid for the printing. And then ultimately, we both got customers because there was a little excerpt in there that said 5 ways to save money on your printing. And then it was written by the printer, which I was in partner with. And then I had 3 strategic marketing techniques you can do with your house list. I might have had, questions, marketing questions. Actually, I get marketing questions all the time. I would basically write the marketing question and then write a response, and that's an article. You get 2 or 3 articles, you can easily do a 3-page. Then we put a schedule advisory, then we put customer stories, then we put featured events, some of the local events, because this was a local marketing letter. And we basically, for me, it was the price of a stamp. For the printer, it was the price of a print run. Ultimately, what I discovered is the printer just wanted to keep his people busy, and the newsletter actually went through the machines pretty quick. It wasn't really, the machines folded it. It just required 2 or 3 people that were family members of his to keep it all going. But ultimately, I just paid postage. I think it was 40 cents at the time. So I'm paying 40 cents a letter, which normally would have cost me $1 a letter. He's paying the cost of printing, which due to his volume, he's able to reduce that significantly. And we both got customers. So as a copywriter, as a marketer, as a business development professional, you can find cooperative marketing arrangements where you're getting additional customers for yourself and your vendors. Now, what's even more valuable is when you can find prospective customers who want to reach a target market that you also want to reach, and you help them with their marketing. You help them by managing this type of letter. The typical small business, by the way, cannot do this. The typical small business cannot get a monthly newsletter out every month. I can't do it by myself. I got to partner with people because I was at one time with my computer consultancy company printing 500 letters a month. My staff would fold them and stuff them. And ultimately, I ran behind on other stuff. And then the letters didn't come out all the time. And long story short, the opportunity here is you as a facilitator to deliver this as a service and find groups of people who serve the same customer. Now, this is the customer that you write copy to attract. This is the customer you know about. You find and you create these little satellites around the customers that you can already reach. And you basically say, hey, look, let's share the cost of marketing. Now, in the case where you're doing the work, you're going to actually, let's say there's 5 people involved, including you. You'll split the cost 3 to 4 ways with the partners. And eventually you get a free ride. Now, I've discussed this in details in a number of reports. In fact, I just finished another report that's called Reimburse Every Dollar. If you write in with your questions about cooperative marketing, I can share those reports with you, at least share what answers your question. But ultimately, the value of a cooperative marketing program is that it significantly reduces your cost by either A, sharing the cost between like-minded, non-competitive businesses, or B, creating additional sales for your organization at a lower cost per sale, or finally, covering the administrative overhead of doing your regular marketing anyway. That's why the printer would print the letters for free. They weren't really printing the letters for free, but it was covering administrative overhead because it generated new customers. Folks, cooperative marketing is a powerful resource. If you add Harvey Brody's toll gate method, you could actually be in the middle of these relationships and generate additional income streams in addition to the fees you get for producing the newsletter or the email marketing series or the postal marketing series, whatever it is you're creating. You can also get additional back-end revenue in the form of commissions. You can get it in the form of spiffs. One time I was working with a fleet fuel company, and I was actually a salesperson for this company. I got Shell Oil to pay for my monthly newsletter. I essentially partnered with Shell Oil, who provided what's called a spiff. It's a dealer incentive. And then once that worked out really well, I went through every product line this company can offer, contacted their reps, asked them if they had dealer incentives, asked them if they had program funding, asked them if they had promotions that we could talk about. And I basically licensed a 4-page newsletter. So it's 8.5 by 11, folded in half and folded down again, which I inserted what's called a freestanding insert. I would take the Shell brochure, the freestanding insert that they had, and it was printed with our Shell our bulk fluids guy, our bulk oil guy, printed with his indicia and gave information about how to contact him. I would put it in my newsletter. I'd have a customer success story. I'd have information about our fuel sites. I would basically add that to this template that was already put together, and we got a number of resources we can refer you to. And then I would send this out every month like clockwork. Guess how much it cost me to send this to prospects? Well, that's the value of cooperative marketing. It actually cost me nothing. In fact, I made an extra $100 to $200 a month over top of the costs of this marketing campaign. Now, I invested that in better lists, and I invested in taking prospects out to lunch and stuff. But I made money doing this because my partner shared the expenses. Now, I partner with organizations that have sales funds. And if you're doing this for a customer, you educate them. You say, hey, look, who are the vendors that you represent? Who are the products and services that you work with? Let's see if we can't raise some money from these folks to pay at least the administrative costs of getting more customers. It's a win-win situation. It works well for everybody involved. And it is a simple technique. Cooperative marketing also spreads risk. You can buy better marketing lists. You can do better marketing online and offline, and you can do it at a fraction of the cost out of the individual pockets. Now, here's something even more powerful. Since everybody involved in the cooperative marketing is going after the same customer base, rather than competing with each other on pay-per-click platforms or driving up advertising costs in magazines or newsletters or newspapers that reach this target audience, you're now sharing the costs by doing blind lead generation or doing split-up ads. You can buy a whole page and split it up between the partners in the group. A lot of trade associations do this, by the way. You can ultimately get better leverage with the magazines because they aren't able to pit you guys against each other. You guys are working together. Now, you can't do price fixing because that's actually racketeering, and you can't do you can't squeeze out a competitor in such a way that you're jacking up the prices in the paper. So, for example, all three of you can't get together and offer to pay 10 times the going rate of a newspaper ad because it's going to pay back and you're going to get the money back. But ultimately, it would prevent a competitor from coming in the paper because it raises the overall cost or perception of value for that particular ad. You can't do stuff like that because that's racketeering, and there are monopoly related laws. But if you do this in a local market and you do like what I was talking about as a computer consultant, where I was writing the newsletter and the local printer was printing it, and you have 3 to 4 partners in something like this, it is an extremely valuable way to reduce your costs. It is an extremely valuable way to find new customers. And it is an extremely valuable way to take the administrative overhead that you already have with a prospect newsletter and make it go away. That's how powerful this is. Now, you may have questions about what I've shared. Again, this is a podcast. This is meant to just give you a taste and get you excited about something. Let's talk about your specific questions in either a webinar or in a follow-up series. Now, like I said, I've created a number of special reports. I've helped clients do this over the years, and ultimately it works nearly every time. The times it doesn't work is when common mistakes are made, and I'll be happy to send you a copy of the common mistakes. There's a lot that can go wrong, especially when the business you could get too much business. That's basically what happened most of the time. You get too much business from the cooperative, and if you don't have a ready partner replacement, sometimes people drop out. Like they just got too much business and they don't know how to handle it. There's some systemic problems in their business. But again, as the copywriter, as the marketer, as the business development professional, you can syndicate, which it means, and this is Harvey Brody's toll gate, which means because you know the customer has a need, you can find a supplier that has the ability to solve that problem. Do you see what I'm saying there? I know I could go on to this for 2 days. I really don't need to do that right here. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. When you have your questions about cooperative marketing, when you want to see how you can implement this concept today to get more customers for yourself, when you want to see how you might find these opportunities in your business today, already, visit me at www.adbriefings.co.uk. I'm here for copywriters, marketers, and business development professionals who want to cultivate a strong and powerful client base that produces revenue for them, gets them 6-figure, 7-figure assignments, and grows their agency. Thanks for listening. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips.